Today we're back at Soundelux to talk to sound librarian and sound recordist Charlie Campagna. So this is Charlie's room, and this is Charlie. So tell me what you do here, man.
I am one of the librarians, one of 3 librarians for Soundelux in Hollywood. And that incorporates Soundelux, which are the sound editors within Soundelux, and also DMG, which is on our bottom floor, which does a lot of gaming and feature films. And then we have Seward, which has a lot of TV editors and sound designers and show features over there as well. So between those 3 locations and New York, we have Sound One in New York. So I'm one of 3 librarians here.
Cool. And just a guess, how many sounds are we talking about that you're in charge of?
Well, we have a server with we're almost up to 500,000 sounds now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're all have at some point been filtered through you and itemized and cataloged?
They're continuously being filtered through me. It's such a large amount that it's a big pile of stuff to go through. We have a lot of old sound effects that possibly could be cleaned up with newer cleaning audio restoration programs that we're trying out all the time. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to be top and tailed. And then we get shows coming through here where we get to record new material, clean it up, and give it to the editors. And every once in a while we design stuff too. So
your work is not just limited to being a librarian and actually cataloging and running through all these sounds, but you actually get to go out in the field and record stuff and do some editing and stuff as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, we get to work directly for the sound supervisors, and one of the benefits of this company is there's over 20 sound supervisors here. So we have over a dozen features all the time going on, and each one of us 3 librarians, has relationships with some of the supervisors. Some supervisors might want to record, go out and do their whole show with new recordings. Other ones have these great veteran editors that just use backstock library stuff. So it depends on the supervisor, but what's the great thing, it's different. You develop different relationships with each supervisor. So it's really cool because you actually work for the editors, work for the supervisor.
What would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you face when somebody says, okay, we need you to record whatever? Mm-hmm. What are some of the common problems you run into?
Well, it depends what it is. I mean, some of the hardest things to record are animals. Things outdoors are usually more difficult than things indoors. So it depends what it is, but the biggest challenges really is the weather. I think the number one thing for us, I mean, we're lucky living in LA, you could go to the desert and find some quiet time. But you know, there's always birds, there's always insects. Next month, springtime is going to be full effect. It's going to be, you know, buzzing and birds, and you know, it's hard to get that stuff out of your recording, and it's always a challenge to try to avoid atmospheric noise, you know, if you're trying to do something quiet. But the biggest challenges, I think, more than anything, is scheduling things and weather. Other than that, it's really not that bad. I mean, if someone needs a car recorded, we'd find the car and we'll go out, we'll do a whole day set and get that car. And if it's other things, we'll do our best to get it, you know.
So you're a pretty content guy. You seem like you really enjoy what you're doing. What would you say is your favorite part of the job?
I really like to please the supervisors and editors. There's something really pleasing about putting craft into something that's simple, like for instance this gun recording we did. Just getting the files, putting them in Pro Tools, and instead of going, okay, they're lined up, here you go, put some time and effort into crafting the sounds together and lining them up sample level and putting good names and good descriptions and good metadata, and then make, you know, like I make these Excel spreadsheets where everything says where the mic placement, who did it, what recorder, and when you hand that to the people that organized or that wanted the recordings, just to see how they're happy and pleased they are with it, you feel like you're really adding to the feature film. You really feel like you're really, doing something for the final output. So if I get a really good sound, I just feel really good to give it to the editor and see their reaction.
So what's your favorite project that you've worked on?
Working at Soundelux, my favorite project, hands down, was Star Trek. I got to be a librarian on it. I also got to be a sound designer and recordist on it. And I was able to make, slinky explosions, and I was able to make cool, really far out sci-fi type sounds. And it's rare when you get that chance to work, and make stuff really outlandish that's actually going to be possibly used. So I think for me that was one of the funnest projects.
So you worked on Star Trek. You're in the theater watching it, you got your bowl of popcorn, and you hear your stuff happening on the screen. My question is this: does it pull you out of the story and back into reality, and you're like, okay, I remember doing that? Or are you able to watch it as a seamless piece of just storytelling?
That's a good question. I think for me, Star Trek actually was written well, and it was actually a fun plot. And I'm not a Trekkie, but I really enjoy sci-fi and fantasy. And I was taken away, but every once in a while I would go, wow, that metal screech was the metal screech. It's in there. And I also had a newborn baby at the time, and his cry is Captain Kirk being born in the crashing ship. So hearing that is kind of iconic for me, because it's in history that my son's 2-week-old son is screaming his head off, and it's in the film. So that was kind of fun. And that was something my wife and I kind of nudged each other at that part, like, that's him? Doesn't even sound like him, So that was really cool to, so that, I think that's another reason why that show means so much to me, is to have that opportunity to put your kid in it, So that was kind of fun.
I got to get your son's autograph.
Yeah, exactly.
You recently recorded a Black Panther for the Wolfman movie that just came out. Uh-huh. What was that day like to record a Black Panther?
It was really cool, because it was kind of icing on the cake, because we originally recorded wolves. And it was incredible, recording. This is the first time I really got close to a real wolf, and not a hybrid, but these are big dogs standing a lot higher than any normal dog. And the growls are really throaty and deep, and I wasn't even aware it was going to sound that good. Just acoustically, they sound amazing. So that was neat to record that, and at the end of the day, I asked the animal trainer, it's like, well, you did mention you have some other animals. I would love to record a big cat. What do you have, available? And he said, well, we have a black cheetah. And I was like, oh, cool, cheetah. They make a great kind of growly, kind of hissy growl. Well, it turned out to be more of a Black Panther, like with cheetah printing, So it was incredible. I didn't expect it to sound like a Harley, but they sound like a Harley. They got this deep growl, and he was small. I mean, his body was maybe this big, but his head was this big, and his paws were that big. So you're intimidated by the growl and just the size of his head, but then you see this little body, long tail,
right?
And it was incredible. It was fun to record him. I overmodulated as much as possible without distortion to get as deep recording as possible for that.
So I think it's really interesting what you had mentioned, and I guess that goes to show the mind of the sound designer that you have, which is you're recording wolf sounds, then all of a sudden you jump to, I want to record a big cat.
Yeah.
And you would think that most people would just say, well, obviously we need to record wolves, but your mindset is, okay, let's get whatever elements we can get to kind of give it that aggression or whatever sound you're after.
Absolutely. I mean, there's times where we'll go out to record a car, and wind is just, we'll finish a car set and wind will be blowing, and we're just like, you know what? Desert wind. And we'll come back with really good wind and a mediocre car. We'll have to go out again and get that car, but wind through trees we'll get, and it'll just be incredible. So it's like sometimes you just got to adapt and think that way. You got to think, what can I capture with this recorder just at all times? So, for instance, the wolf recording, the cat, I was instantly thinking a lot of these designers would like a new, freshly recorded 96K cat growls, so they could tweak them and put them in thunder, car buys, jet buys, whatever they need to do. So that was a lot of fun.
Charlie's got a fun job.